Okay, so this is an important part right here. So you see the graph, you have your choice of engineering disciplines from more difficult to less difficult, and you have your choice of schools from more difficult to less difficult. So let's pick the one that everybody's curious about, but this is only my opinion. What is the most difficult discipline at the most difficult school? So you go over to the most difficult discipline and you go up to the most difficult school, and in my opinion, that would be electrical engineering at MIT. It is the best school in the world, and in my opinion, I think electrical engineering is the most difficult. It would be the most difficult for me, and I think I've already mentioned that before. Okay, so that would be the most difficult. So people are gonna say, oh, you're gaming the system. If you don't think that there are people out there that know how this, whatever this is, however this works, and they're not using it so they can help a student, you're crazy. I did it for my own kids. Neither of them are engineers, but they've both done really well. And whatever I knew, I said, you know what, we should. The classic example is I think I said it already, you're at a Macy's sale, the lines, there's 30 people in line, so you take your stuff, you go downstairs to rugs, where there is nobody, but they scan your ticket, and magically, it's in the system, because the system is everywhere. So, let's look at the next. A student who thinks, or you think they would do well in engineering, maybe they should go towards one of the less difficult disciplines, less rigorous, not as much math, and one of the less difficult schools. Not a killer school, the opposite of MIT. That's where I went. So you have the easier disciplines at the less challenging school. You have to come up with both simultaneously. You have to narrow down. It's not that it's easier or harder, it's just what do you think you're interested in? Kinda, sorta, and go that way with the school. With the discipline, I mean. And then which kind of schools? For example, I wanted to be an industrial engineer, but I wanted to go to MIT. Never going to get into MIT. I mean, I'm smart, but I'm not that smart. So what did I like about MIT? Did I like that it was in a city? Did I like that it was in Boston? Do I want to go to a school in a city, in any city, or do I want to be in Boston? That narrows it down. Or do I want to be in a school that's all STEM? Everybody's really, really into STEM. They talk the language that I talk. So then you need to find maybe another Institute of Technology in Boston or in a city, anywhere. We've got a few in the United States that does industrial engineering. Or you could, let's say, if you wanted to challenge yourself and you wanted to go to one of the more high-profile schools, you could try one of the less global engineerings, like not one of the major engineerings that you don't have to do all this stuff. That would be another way to go. Or you really, really, really want to be a computer engineer. Then you figure out what type of school do you think you have a chance of getting into. So in order to do that, the first thing, we've gone through it, you have to understand all the disciplines, how they're different, what makes them different, whether they're the major engineering disciplines or they're the sub-discipline or even a sub-discipline. What makes them difficult or not? I think it's the math. There's a level of math in electrical and chemical. It gets a little, you find yourself in the tall grass from time to time. And I like math, but it was like, whoa. So it's the math. It's not the engineering part. But the math is in the engineering, so that it's like, I don't know, like I said, I don't cook, but I imagine that some cakes or breads are harder to make and some are easier to make. So it depends on what you're interested in, and it depends on what you're ready for. And like I said, in my opinion, you could talk to 10 engineers and they'd say something different. I think it's the math that's involved in the engineering. It's not the engineering. Okay, so that's the disciplines. There are a lot of them. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that there are so many and you have such a big choice. And then there are the schools. So there's about 400 engineering schools. I've never seen them all ranked from 1 to 400. You could easily do 1 to 100. 1 to 100's out there a lot. So that's how you figure out where the student across the desk from you would find themselves in engineering. Is it easy? No. Nope. There's a lot of information there. And as you move your pencil around from quadrant, each one of those squares in there is a quadrant, from quadrant to quadrant, what's best for your student? What's best for your son or daughter? You know them. Okay, this is the last note that I want to put in. I don't know where it will go. I don't think that most parents are aware of FERPA, F-E-R-P-A, the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. The truth is that once the student that you've been responsible for, or your son or daughter, once they enter college and they turn 18, you, the parent, are not allowed to see anything about their life as a student. Not their grades, not what they've been up to, nothing. Now, every single parent I've ever met, including myself, has said, "Are you kidding me? I am killing myself." And some not, good for you. But many of us are killing ourselves trying to write the check every year. And I don't get to see the grades that they got? I don't think so. Guess what? Too bad. You don't. So because many parents have said this, many schools have a FERPA waiver. Now, they give it to the students, but they certainly don't give it to the students in the presence of their parents, because their parents would be like, "Aren't you going to sign?" Many parents would say, "I really do want you to sign this. I want to be part of your life. I am sacrificing gladly and lovingly. I want to know how you're doing." So in order for you to call up and ask about anything, you have to have had your son or daughter sign the FERPA waiver. And this isn't just for everything. This isn't just for engineering, it's for everything. I know, right? For the parents that have students already in college, you already know this, but for the about right, are you kidding me? But on the other side of it, there are some students who are better away from their parents and with no contact with their parents. So there's a whole other world out there that I think many of us don't even realize is out there.